Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rebecca. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a turban headband. All of the fabric measurements is in the description box down below, and if you want to, you can download my free PDF pattern off of my website, puttingonnative.com.
The first thing I'm going to do is cut my elastic. Here I folded my fabric and I'm smoothing it out. I laid down my pattern piece on the fold. Now I'm marking it out with chalk and pinning. Now I'm repeating those same steps for my second pattern piece. At this point, I decided to iron out my fabric because it was quite crinkled. Then I recut out my pattern piece. Then, so I didn't forget, I marked out which side was the wrong side of my fabric. Then I folded all of my pattern pieces right sides together and then I ironed it. Now I'm sewing on a 1 centimeter seam allowance, closing one side of each of my 3 pattern pieces. After that, I'm going to turn all 3 of my pieces right side out. For the smaller one, I used the safety pin to turn it out. It was at this point that I realized I needed to trim my seam allowance before I could turn it out. Here I have the seam for my 2 larger pieces in the middle, and then I iron it out flat. And for the smaller piece, I just ironed that one out with the seam to the side. Now I'm attaching a safety pin to my elastic, and I'm going to use that in order to allow me to move the elastic inside of my small casing. Clip to hold the elastic in place. Then clip the second side. Now I have my two main pieces with the seam up on both of them. Now I'm going to take one of them and fold it in half so that the seam is in the inside, and then I'm going to pin this closed. So now we're seeing the right side of our fabric, the seam is in the inside. Now with this one, with the seam facing up, I'm going to take it and stick it inside and do the same thing we did last time where we fold it with the seam in the inside. And then we're going to pin it. Now this is what we have. Now we're going to take this to our machine and we're going to sew here, and then we're going to sew here. And then we're also going to sew these two sides where we have our clips closed. Here I'm sewing a little bit inside my 1 centimeter seam allowance on all of my pieces. Okay, so after you sew your elastic and the end closed for your headband, then you're going to take your elastic, you're going to place it into the middle of one of the sides, and then fold both sides over the elastic, and then clip it, and then bring your elastic over to the other side in the middle, fold it over, and then clip it down. And now we're going to sew these across with 1 centimeter seam allowance. Now I'm trimming down the seam allowance with my paper scissors. Now I'm going back to do a small zigzag stitch to secure my raw edges. Okay, after stitching this down and securing it with a zigzag stitch, now it's time to turn it out, and then you're all finished. And there you are. That is the finished headband. And I previously made another one. This one is out of a black satin fabric. And so the pattern works for either headband. And there you have it. This is the finished headband. And here is a second one that I made yesterday out of a satin fabric. Using the same pattern.
If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and follow me on all my social media accounts.